ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to this Monday, April 6th edition of Drive Time. I'm joined, of course, with my lovely co-host, Showtime Sarah and Scooter. How you guys doing this fine Monday?
Good. I've just been trying to get a lot of stuff figured out for the upcoming month. I got finals in a month, and then got summer going through. It's a lot.
It is a lot. And not that we have anything going on here in Ohio and it's summertime either. So just some fun stuff. But anyway, Scooter, how you doing? Sorry, I
Oh, it's
gotta.
great. It's a great day today. We saw like world history today as the Artemis 2 has passed Apollo 13 as the farthest humans to ever go away from Earth. So that's really, really cool. And they'll be on the dark side of the moon in about an hour and a half when they lose contact for about 40 minutes. So it should be really interesting. But I've been watching this all day. It's interesting to hear the astronauts. They're visually looking at the moon and they're explaining what they see. And it's like, this has not happened in my lifetime ever. It's really exciting.
They're showing that on Netflix. Is that where were they showing that at, or is it just on the CNN and
Well,
where?
I'm watching on NASA app.
Okay.
They're
I think
doing
I
everything
saw where they
live.
were supposed to be doing something on Netflix, and I was going to turn it on, and
Right.
then work happened, and of course that did not happen. So that's how that is. Okay, get that out there. Like, follow, subscribe on Facebook, of course, for us if you don't mind. So there we go. All right, so let's get through some of the fun stuff here. Then we'll start getting to the show. So of course, we already put up our little thing here. I'll have that up there while I talk about this. Like, follow, subscribe to us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. We're there. Of course, our shows on YouTube are 24/7. And then you can listen to us next day on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Pocket Cast, Podbean, and Castbox. So all kinds of way to check out the show. And of course, so with that being said, let's go ahead and get into our weekend drive-through. We'll start off with, of course, some of the fun stuff, which mostly this is going to be our little chance here to talk basketball, of course, because, why not here? And let me pull this bad boy up here because I don't know why that wasn't showing. It's supposed to be showing, but not that there's a lot of afternoon baseball going on, but there is one game. Of course, it's Chicago and Tampa. They're in the bottom of the third inning. So we'll throw that up there real quick for everyone to know that. And then we'll throw this on here. All right. So let's get into the fun. So, I guess we'll start off with, of course, what was kind of the hot button topic when South Carolina took out UConn, ending UConn's winning streak. They did so pretty convincingly, but of course, unfortunately, the game kind of lost the meaning when you had the handshake, kind of handshake go wrong between Gino and Don Staley. And Gino pouts and goes off the court. Very unbecoming of him. So. Scooter, what are your thoughts on the whole thing? Does what happened in there hurt Gino's legacy?
Well, I really don't know why Gino went all crazy Sicilian out there. Like, he went berserk, and he did apologize for it. So that's good. He did that. Now, I don't think it's going to hurt his legacy at all. I mean, he looked like a curmudgeonly old man, and it didn't help him any. But I don't even know why he was like ripped clothing and not handshakes. And like when the handshakes were actually done in the beginning, people shook hands. And then, this ripped jersey was apparently ripped by their own player. So
right.
It was just weird. And I don't think Dawn Staley, she didn't deserve to be put in that position, I don't think. I don't think that she was spouting out about anything. Of course, they get the little things during the middle of the games, but usually at the end, they're all just like shake hands, like, hey, you did great, that kind of thing. Then that did not happen. So Gino's got a little work to do on the PR front there.
I mean, even if you don't mean it, right, you just shake the coach's hand and you move on, right? Like, I didn't get it at all. It seemed very weird, just not a good look at all for him, especially because, granted, look, UConn doesn't lose a lot of games, so I think it's even more important when they do lose one that they do it with dignity and do it the right way, and that definitely didn't have that feel for me. Sarah, what were your thoughts on it?
So I mean, I see it happen. I think it's important to notice. I mean, obviously, we talk about it, but later on with UCLA, the South Carolina coach basically gave her commends to how UCLA played. She didn't have any sore feelings about it. She said they played better, that they just weren't there. So I mean, I think how she handled it is how you should have acted in that moment for UConn and Gino. So I think that's important to mention at least.
I agree, and you already mentioned it, so we'll get to that. The final was yesterday, and the UCLA, or not yesterday. Yeah, was it yesterday? I can't remember. I can't keep track.
It
Of Yeah, it
was,
was
yeah.
yesterday. Jeez, I can't keep track of the weekend anymore. But UCLA then turns around and beats South Carolina. UCLA had a very, very senior laden team. They are the first team ever to have all their points scored by senior players, which especially in today's day and age is saying something with the way people transfer and everything. So they took care of South Carolina. None of these three games on the women's side were particularly close for, other than, obviously right at the start and stuff like that. So, but I think UCLA women did what I think a lot of people thought they could do. I don't know, but I'll be honest. Look, I had UConn win it all. I just didn't see anyone beating UConn this year. If anyone was going to beat UConn, I thought for sure it was going to be South Carolina, who did beat UConn. So that technically was correct. I just then thought that then they would win it all. But good for the Big Ten with UCLA winning it. That still sounds weird to me. So, Scooter, any thoughts on UCLA winning it all and winning it last night?
Oh, that's great for the school. When was the last time they'd done anything big in college basketball? So they were once the biggest deal in the business, but
Right.
But no, it's great for UCLA. Good for them. I thought their women played excellent, and they took out the team who should have been the champs, I guess. So
I agree.
But you got to remember, South Carolina, that was a hard fought. Even though there's a lot of emotions in that game against UConn, and that could have led to this too.
Yeah, and a little part of me too wonders, even though she said like they're just focused on UCLA, like you still have to wonder if a little bit of the backlash and everything that happened might have affected a little bit of that game, because I don't. It seemed to me they got off to a slow start, and I think maybe that could have also been a part of it too.
Yeah, certainly could have. Yep.
Sarah, anything? Did you see any of the game or anything?
I wasn't able to see the game. Obviously, do know who won, and it is their first win, I think, since the 1970s, I believe.
Yeah, the men, going back to the men's.
Yeah, it goes back to the men's. I did think I did think South Carolina was going to be the one that was able to pull it off. But I mean, it is what it is. It was still a pretty close game. I don't think there's not really too much to be upset about. I don't think how the UConn game kind of affected how they played. I mean, they just said they just didn't have it, but I mean, that could go for anything, but I don't think at least it goes for how their previous game ended.
And for those that did the sideline junkies, this ends I had one back to back on the women's title, and I got away from what I'd done last year, which was I just picked chalk until the finals, and I should have done that this year. I picked too many upsets. I don't know why. I thought maybe it was getting a little bit to the point where where the women's game was closer, but no, I should have stuck with the chalk theory. That was the way to go, I think, I still would have probably lost, because I think I still would have picked UConn to win it. So I was trying to pull up who won it. I think it was Mr. Midnight Rider got it right, because he did pick UCLA to win it. So time to get some flowers out to Midnight Rider. He ended up walking away he scored 1580. His second place was also, I wouldn't have been able to beat that, because he also had UConn for the second one, and I was much lower on that one. So shout out to Midnight Rider, who won the ladies' side of the draw on that. So with that, let's get into the men's side. Kind of similar. The semifinals were a little disappointing. Michigan just got off big early on Arizona, and that was over. UConn got a decent lead at halftime and never really looked back against Illinois. So Michigan has just been rolling all over everybody. UConn had the big win against Duke. That was a close game, probably, where they're down 19, but they seem to ride at the ship. So we got Michigan against UConn tonight. Scooter, who you got?
First, I just want to say, Showtime, excellent shirt there. You're, big supporter.
Did you realize it earlier when you were talking about it? I tried.
No, because I was looking up. I'm actually looking at the moon right now.
Oh, okay.
Like on TV. So I was like, oh my gosh, but that's awesome. So, sweet. UConn, that game was really, really, I thought it was a good game. UConn, it wasn't like they blew them out or anything. It kept being about an 8-10 point game. And then UConn just did sort of what they do at the end, is they put it away. Now, Michigan, I mean, I was able to go to bed early.
Yeah.
Because Arizona, Michigan's that much better. I don't want to knock Arizona, but did they show up? I don't know. They lost by like 20.
And it wasn't even ever close. Like it was like
Yeah.
a 15 point, which surprised me because I actually in my little money pool, which is a blind pool, I had Arizona, so I secretly was rooting for Arizona because I like winning money. But it was very evident early on that was not going to happen. And it's weird in the Sideline Junkies thing. That one I'm somehow winning, like I've won it. So I lose my title on the ladies' side, but I take over the title on the men's side because I'm the only one that even has their champ left in UConn. So I'm in first place over Midnight Rider by 50 points, and his one that's closest, he had Florida winning it all. So nobody has Michigan winning this thing of the 11 that joined it. So I will gladly take my championship run now on the men's side. And UConn could still win it for me, but if not, none of us will pick the winner. But I'll take UConn.
I'm most likely sweeping up behind all you guys, right at the end down there.
Where are you in here?
I should be right on the bottom.
No, you're an 8th out of 11. Jack Carr's got one.
As Steve Spurrier may say, not very good.
No, not great, but you're not at the very bottom, so you're not the complete worst either. So, Sarah, you got any predictions for tonight?
So I do have. I don't know how I wasn't able to find the bracket with obviously the group, but I do have what's my second chance bracket because my first bracket already fell through because I had Virginia winning that. But my second chance bracket, I had Michigan winning it. So call me crazy or delusional or whatever you want to call me. But yeah, I'm gonna stick with that.
I don't think it's delusional because really, if you look at every game that Michigan has played, they are a team on a mission. They have been rolling all over everybody. It seems like so. Good for them. My gut kind of tells me I think Michigan will win it, but I don't know. It seems like Hurley finds a way to coach UConn up in these games and gets the win. And he's one of those coaches like. You have to respect what he does, but he seems like a really arrogant son of a bitch out there on the court sometimes. Like I almost kind of like to watch UConn lose because of that. But my good buddy back in North Carolina, Ken, who just lives and breathes UConn, like I like seeing UConn do well for him. So I'm torn on this one because I really don't like their coach, but I respect him. But I want to see them win for Ken. So it's like I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I can see. I can really see Michigan should be the one winning this game tonight. But I think it's going to be one of those close ones. I remember years ago, Syracuse versus Indiana. Syracuse was so good, and then it went down to the end, and Keith Smart hit that jumper. So I think that this is going to be a final shot kind of game.
And this tournament needs it, doesn't it? Because it's really, other than that Duke UConn finish and maybe like two others, there really hasn't been a lot of intrigue as far as the games go. Like there's been a lot of blowouts in this tournament, and that's not good for the ratings, I'm sure.
Sure.
Well, you've had the couple upsets, obviously, in the first round, where VCU took out UNC. You had Texas that was making a pretty good run too. But then obviously getting closer into the 32 and 16, that didn't last very long and they were taken out or, then that's when they were handled by obviously the bigger teams. So, there was an attempt, but it just isn't the same Cinderella story that we've had before.
Agree.
I think the closest to Cinderella we got was Texas. And that was still 16, I think they made it the furthest to.
Well, everyone was riding the high point too.
Yeah, the High Point win was
the High Point because
yeah,
no one
High
knows
Point
what that
too.
is.
But, they still lost to what was it? I can't remember.
Yeah, and they lost in the second round too. I think.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, but that was still a crazy game. I think I predicted that High Point upset too because I don't think High Point gets enough credit, but there's just bigger teams in that. But when they did lose, it was still pretty close.
Yep.
So.
I agree. All right, let's take a real quick break, and then we'll get into some baseball talk. We'll be right back. All right, folks, we are back. Like I said, be real quick. So let's get into some quick baseball. And again, look, we understand we are completely early in the season, so we're not going to go diving into too many numbers yet because it just doesn't matter yet. There's just it's silly to dive into batting average and stuff like that. But as the old saying goes, you can't win a pennant in April, but you sure can lose it sometimes in April. And there's a few teams that are getting close to that, but we won't get there yet. I have to start, of course, with what happened in Cleveland on Friday night. Chase DeLauder made his home debut. If you haven't seen it yet, two things. One, if Clevelanders can never have an excuse to do day drinking, they're in. You throw in the excitement of a home opener, it just creates for an electric, fun atmosphere. Throw in that the Cubs were in town, and you bring back some 2016 vibes. Like it was a fun opener. Chase DeLauder's walk-up song is "Country Roads Take Me Home." And so what's interesting is, of course, they played just a short clip, and then the crowd continues to sing along. From the first inning, there was a little bit of rain, so some people had left their seats, but then it stopped. And as the drinking continued on, we noticed that the singing continued to get louder and louder on the sing-along parts. Then you throw in the fact that he hits the homer, his fifth home run of the season already, in his third at bat, and Progressive Field was just electric as it always can be for fun October playoff games and home openers. So it was a blast to be there. But the kid continues. He's leading. He's tied for the league with Shane Langoliers from Oakland with 5. And again, it's early, but still, it seems like, again, it's all going to be about his health. If he can stay healthy, he could put up some seriously fun, crazy rookie of the year numbers. Scooter, did you see any of it other than? Well, I mean, I know I put lots of pictures up there from it, but
I saw some pics. I saw some videos of it. Yeah, he's if you're in the Virginia, D.C., Maryland area, just here, he's kind of a homer because he was born, I believe, in Frederick, Maryland, or in that area. And he grew up in eastern, West Virginia, and he went to college at JMU. So, I mean, if there's anyone that should be with the Nationals, it's this guy. But the Cleveland got him, and good for Cleveland. He's going to be pretty good, it seems like.
yeah, it's just all about, can he stay healthy for him? That's going to be the key. So, Showtime, anything on the Chase DeLauder fun that keep sending you?
I wasn't able to watch any of it. No. Obviously, I was aware that we won, and we did end up winning that series against the Cubs. So good on us for that. But I mean, it's great that he's having a fantastic start. You just gotta obviously hope he stays healthy, and 2, it just doesn't burn out, because you do be having those moments sometimes.
Yeah, and I'm sure he's going to hit a bad spot. They all do, but he's still batting over 300, and he's one of the few getting in the RBIs. A little bit of other Cleveland Guardians news. This one is, of course, near and dear to my heart. Jose Ramirez tonight will become the leader in games played for Cleveland. He will hit 1620 being played in a Cleveland uniform, taking over for Terry Turner, who played in the 1800s, and one of the first Cleveland Indians, Nap LaJoy, who was at 16-15. So it's a big moment for him, and especially in today's game where you just don't see folks stick with one team anymore. And of course, with his contract, he should, if he stays healthy, end up going over 2,000 games played for Cleveland. So couldn't happen for a better guy. This city just absolutely loves him, and he'll break the record tonight. Unfortunately, the game time temp today is going to be about 40 degrees. So I don't think the Progressive Field is going to be packed for the game today like it was on Friday. But hopefully, it'll still be a decent crowd for him there.
40 degrees?
Yeah, it's 44 today. Tomorrow they moved up the game from 7 p.m. to 1 a.m. or 7 p.m. to 1 p.m. just to play it safe, because it's supposed to be 35 tomorrow.
That's a 25-degree difference.
Yep, yeah, sure is.
I want to say this about Jose. I think I brought it up a little bit last year about how, I mean, he'll get into the Hall of Fame. I think we came up with that last year.
Yep.
But he has quietly, he's going to be one of the most quiet people to ever go into the Hall of Fame. And people just, I don't know if enough fans have paid attention to him. And when you look at those games, like Cleveland knows. There's no question. Because when you look at the top 10 of games played in Cleveland, The only one that's anywhere close to the modern era is Jose, and he's on the top.
Yep.
Everyone else, like Tris Speaker, you mentioned a few, Boudreaux, some of the guys that were in the 40s and 30s. I mean, we're talking about guys in the teens, the 1890s, and the 1910s. And like the closest player to Jose age-wise is, I forget the guy's name, but it's like 1950 is when he played.
Yep.
I mean, it's insane. So that's awesome.
And he does it the right way, because like he had this play Friday night, like he hits this. It's not even a bloop single. It's a good solid single. But Peter Crow Armstrong in center field, who's a good center fielder, he's got great speed, but he's thinking, okay, this is a base hit. Jose looks up and sees it, and he just puts on the afterburners and he turns it into a double. I mean, he's the only player I think that does that, where he just constantly turns stuff that should only be a single into doubles, just because he's aware of what and I don't know. You think like everyone by now would know, hey, if Jose gets a base hit, you got to hustle to the ball, you got to throw it in, because if he sees you take one step off, he's gonna go for it, and most of the time he finds it. So
he's a manager's dream.
He is. Yep. And that's why having him with the kids like Chase and some of these other young guys that they got this year, it's just going to mean the world. So we'll see. A lot of baseball left to go, so I'm not going to get too excited yet, but it'll be a fun little milestone for him personally.
It's okay to get a little excited. Get a little excited.
Yeah, I try. So Showtime, any thoughts on Jose with what he'll do tonight in Cleveland?
I mean, it's definitely impressive. But that's your guy. I can't say much about it. I can't call him my favorite player because then he'll get traded away.
No, yeah, you have a bad habit of anything that you claim to be your favorite Cleveland player, they go away. So yeah, we'll keep that. We'll keep that one.
I think if I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure it's just Tanner Bay right now, but he's lasted a decent amount. But knock on wood, wherever wood is, but we're okay right now. We're surviving. But it's only because he shares my birthday, so
that could be. Hey, we'll take that. All right, so a couple teams that are off to really, really strong starts. The LA Dodgers, which is funny, they are 7-2. Their only 2 losses were the 2 games they lost to the Guardians. They've beaten everybody else that they played this year. And Sarah's favorite team, the New York Yankees, they are off to a 7-2 start as well. And I'll be honest, a little bit of a surprise to me. I wasn't quite sure what they would show, but they're definitely off to a fast start as well. Miami, the NL, I think I kind of put it up this way here for this. The NL East is exactly what we thought the NL East would be. Miami 6-3, the Mets 6-4, Atlanta 6-4, Philly 5-4, then you got Washington at 3-6. Like every team, above 500 except for Washington.
Hey, Washington's 3 of those losses were to the Dodgers. Okay,
I know.
So
nothing wrong with those losses.
Those are, I mean, one was pretty good. One was absolutely horrendous, and there's another one in there too. But that's who they lost to.
Yep, no problem there. Scooter, any thoughts on the Dodgers, Yankees, or anything else on the NL East, or any other team that you want? Milwaukee's off to a 7-2 start as well. Could have thrown them in there.
Yeah, the Dodgers, Yankees going, crushing it. I find the AL West interesting, and then everyone's sweethearts, the A's, are on the bottom right now, and so I think the Royals, that's looking good. They got some good pitching, and when you're talking about American League, it's going to be a fun season. I think there's going to be some surprises in there.
Yep, it should be as we move forward here. Sarah, any thoughts on the teams off to the fast starts, or anything like that caught your eye?
There's stuff that catches my eye, but I don't want to give any kudos to it. They're gonna fall off, guys. Don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it. This is a sense of where you have like false hope, and then I hope that all their dreams get crushed. And yeah, like how many home runs has Aaron Judge had versus Chase DeLauter? I don't know why I keep thinking it's Lautner. I'm like Taylor Lautner right now.
Yeah, that's why.
Chase DeLauter. I did it again. Chase DeLauter versus Aaron Judge. Right now, who's better?
Home run wise, DeLauter has 5. Aaron Judge has 3.
So That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know. And I mean, like you said, the Dodgers, that their losses are to us.
Yeah.
It's too early. Nobody. If I hear anybody say anything like, "Oh, it's our year," shut up.
I'll give the edge to the Indian Guardians right now over the Yankees. I'll give them the edge.
Exactly. In the Dodgers. But like, it's just like, no, like it's too early.
And over the Dodgers too. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Of course the Dodgers have a fast start. Have you seen their cap? They have like millions of dollars to use. That's exactly why we're not having a season. This is why this is the last season. This shows the propaganda. This is all propaganda.
We're Dodger propaganda now. That's what you're saying.
That's it.
Oh, here comes. Speaking of propaganda, here comes Pete to give his points of view. Pete, what do you think about this all? All right, buddy, you gotta get down. I can't. You're too big. Yeah. Oh, that cat was in.
He's a big Tiger fan.
All Pete was saying is give him some ham, and he got lots of ham yesterday. So he was enjoying. He was enjoying Easter, to say the least. All right. So we talked about this, the teams that you can lose a division, and these two are surprising me. Boston is off to a 2-7 start, and San Fran is right there with them at 2-7. I'm very surprised with Boston. I kind of thought this might be the year that Boston is put together. And again, we're 9 games in. We're talking they played 3 series, but it's not been like they lost. What was it? They lost. Hold on here. I'm trying to pull up their March here to get here who they played and lost to. So I mean, they lost 2 out of 3 to the Twins, and they lost a series to the Reds, and they've lost a series to the Astros. So it's not like they're playing, in my view anyway, the top echelon of teams, and they're struggling. So I'm a little taken back by Boston. San Fran did have a series against the Dodgers or against the Yankees, which they got swept by, but they haven't really recovered since then either. So should Boston or San Fran fans be worried yet, Scooter?
No, not at all. No, they're going to be. I mean, Boston with the Astros are in first. They're 6-4 in first place. Who else did they lose to? They lost to the Brewers.
The Boston or San Fran?
Boston.
It was the Reds that they lost the series to.
Oh, it was the Reds. Yeah. So they, they're 6-3. So Boston's losing to teams that have winning records. And San Francisco, I think they'll. I mean, who knows? They could have a bad season.
I don't disagree.
If either of those two were to have a bad season, I'm picking San Fran to have the bad season.
Hey, that's my pick.
Sorry.
Guys, look, just like you can't get excited over the Dodgers and the Yankees, you can't be like, oh, it's over. I mean, some fans are like that. I mean, if this was the Mets, yeah, you could say it was over because I mean that's just their thing. But like, no, I mean it's early. I think it's definitely. I mean, sure, it's maybe kind of concerning, but like you said, Dad, like their schedule hasn't exactly been like that easy. Yet hard to say. It's just whatever happens. They'll get a hold of it. I think. At least I would hope San Fran because I really need that to fall through for my bit.
You do, but we'll see. It would be great if it does. I'll be happy if it happens, but yeah, we'll see. We got a lot of baseball left to go for sure. So, all right, so there we go. There's a look at really now true of first week. We've had 1 full week here at it. Breaking news too. My wife and I have decided on a whim. Basically, we are going to go down to Atlanta Saturday night to get. We're going to go to Truist Park, so that will get another stadium off of our list. And the Guards are in town, so it's about a 10-hour drive. So we're going to stop about halfway going down Friday night and stop about halfway. Then we'll get there, check out all the fun at the ballpark. She's got some cousins that live in the area, so they're going to go to the game with us. And then Sunday, I think we're going to stop back and actually then hit another national park off our list. So we're going to go through Smoky Mountains, at least a little like drive through at the Smoky Mountain National Park, just to say we did it. So
it's a nice little drive
this weekend.
Oh, this weekend?
Yeah, nice and quick. So
early.
We just to say, yeah, it will be. We'll have to. We'll get on the road early. But it'll be fun,
no. But I'm trying to go to Boone in 2 weeks. So like, if you drove through, then I would.
Oh, I've made that.
Vision. You see the vision.
Yep.
You see it.
Yep. Yeah, because I think it's sending us down 40. It's sending us down 71 most of the way, I think, if I remember correctly. So that'll be
Probably,
fun.
yeah.
Okie dokie. Anything else on baseball, guys?
Oh, it's really neat. Ozzie Guillen. He's a booth announcer. I don't know booth. He's one of the announcers for the White Sox, and of course, he led them as manager to the World Series after like 200 years. And they surprised him by retiring as number 13, and he balled his brains out. It was a Matty Ice situation.
I did see that. I saw the clips of it, at least. I was happy for him because I always liked him as a player. He was a good player. So
I was a great catcher.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And obviously a great manager too, who won a World Series. No one did that for the White Sox.
Yep, I agree completely. So, all right, we're going to get into some hockey next. We had yet another coach fired. We are going to break down a look at with the 3-2-1 point system work, and then we're going to get into if your team is in the playoff hunt. We're going to break down every game that they have left and let you know do they really have a chance or not of getting in or not. So let's do one commercial break here, and then we will be right back. All right, we're back. It's time for our drive to the net segment. I always forget this because I talked about this but it's actually going to be this coming weekend. We'll have the Final Four in the college hockey. I always forget they take the week off, which I get why, but it kind of annoys me because it annoys me just due to the fact that these kids got to sit there for 2 weeks without playing a game, and then it's here's the Final Four, so the Frozen Four. So, but just to refresh everyone's memory, you have Michigan going to be taking on Denver. And then you have Wisconsin taking on North Dakota. That will be coming up this weekend. I think it's Friday. And then Sunday is the final. So that will be this coming weekend will be the Frozen Four. Just as a little quick reminder. So we're going to start off with the big news. This broke yesterday. You remember last week, Vegas fired their coach and brought in Torts. So the Islanders thought, well, hey, if it's going to maybe work for them, we'll give it a shot too with 4 games left in the season. They fire Patrick Waugh. They named longtime coach Pete DeBoer new coach. The Islanders before this had lost 3 in a row. I think maybe what was the last thing is they just got absolutely manhandled by the Carolina Hurricanes in their last game. It was not pretty. Could be who they would meet maybe in the playoffs. And they've never played well against the Hurricanes, and so they decided let's fire the coach and see if somehow that changes things up. So this is another one. I don't get it. I don't get the timing of it. I don't know that it'll work or not. We'll get into a little bit of where they're at in the standings and where we think it will or won't work. But Scooter, what were your thoughts on this move just in particular?
Well, the crazy thing is I was talking to my parents on Friday or the Saturday afternoon about Patrick Waugh being the last Canadian really to ever hoist the Stanley Cup in Canada as a Canadian team with the Canadians. And so it was just ironic and I'm like, oh, but he's the Islanders coach now. And they're in the playoffs right now. But interestingly enough, 10 games ago, the Islanders were happily in a playoff position.
Right.
Then they went 3-7 and have lost the last 4. Which you were saying, I think the shots were like 42-16, Carolina and the Islanders. Yeah, so they had to do something because they were probably not going to win a lot more games. And supposedly Patrick Waugh is not like really a great coach. He makes some mistakes, so much so that they fired him. They brought in Pete DeBoer not as an interim. They signed Pete DeBoer for like 3 more seasons as their head coach. So this was like your coach for the next however long.
Which is slightly different than the Torts thing, because Torts has just been hired to do the rest of the regular season and whatever the playoffs, and then they'll assess. And look, I mean, DeBoer, one thing he does get his teams usually to the conference finals, and then from there they fall apart. So I don't know. I think that I don't know that Pete DeBoer is going to make the Islanders better. I don't see it. I don't think he's that great of a coach. But.
Now, the general manager, he's a rookie general manager, so I don't believe Patrick Waugh was his guy.
Probably
so
not.
He was like, all right, that's it. I don't trust this anymore.
And this is nothing
I'm
about
getting
Patrick
my
Waugh.
guy in to save the season.
I agree. And this is nothing about Patrick Waugh being a great coach, because I agree with you. He isn't. Like, he's shown
Yeah,
that before too. I was actually honestly very surprised that he ever got a shot to be head coach again, the
I
way that,
actually was as well.
so and I think this will probably do it for him. I don't think he's going to get the third opportunity like a lot of these guys get, but bringing in DeBoer, I don't know. I don't get it. I think their best move would have been, okay, let Rob finish the season, go where you go, and then let this guy do an actual interview process. But we'll see. Maybe DeBoer will surprise me this time. But I mean, of all of his stops before, he hasn't, and he's coached good teams before, and just that he gets to the conference finals. So maybe that's a thought. Hey, we'll get to the conference finals somehow, and that'll be a good year for us. So
I can remember. I can't remember when the Islanders made the last conference finals.
yeah,
Like
probably the 80s, right?
1982.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think you're right. So, Sarah, any thoughts on the hiring and firing?
I mean, it's definitely something to put in consideration. I mean, they haven't, like you said, they've basically fallen out of the playoff spot, but they are still 1 point behind to jump back in there to get that third spot if they wanted to. But obviously, until then, it's just fighting with Ottawa. As much as I would like to think that, I mean, they do have a chance to catch up with Boston if Boston decides to also kind of fall off, which I think Boston's in a pretty comfortable spot for the remainder of the schedule. I think they can stick with that wild card one, which locks in more. But yeah, I mean, it's very interesting. I would say, because I don't think any of us really had the Islanders in our predictions at all. So I would say that even the fact that they got here was surprising. So, I mean, even if they just take a wild card spot, I think like that's the most we could expect them to do. So therefore, it's like if they got more than that wild card spot, it would still be decent. But I think at this point you just have to settle for making the playoffs in general, whether it's a wild card spot or that number 3. Because I don't think they're going to catch up to Pittsburgh either.
No, I don't think anyone's. I think Pittsburgh's pretty locked in at the 2 now. Yeah, DeBoer's gone with the LA Kings, the Vancouver Canucks, Toronto Maple Leafs, New York Rangers, and the Ottawa Senators is where he has coached in the NHL before. So we'll see. Again, I'm not sold on this being the right move for them either. Going back to a prior subject, Midnight Rider checks in saying, "Wow, the Yankees make Sarah irrational." Yeah. Just wanted to get that reaction there for her. So, all right. So that was that news. Now, last week we kind of dabbled with this a little bit. We talked about if the NHL, because for those that don't know, the NHL uses a 2-1 point system. You get 2 points if you win a game. Doesn't matter if it's in regulation or overtime. You get what's called the loser point if you lose the game in overtime or the shootout. You get 0 points if you win in regulation. We've seen the Olympics, and we have seen the PWHL, and then a couple of the minor leagues dabble with the 3-2-1 system. And the way that works is that if you won a game in regulation, you would get 3 points. You still get the 2 points if you win in overtime. You get the 1 point if you lose in overtime or shootout, and 0 for regulation loss. So the idea is to encourage teams to win a game in regulation to get the 3 points. And I think too, where this comes in, like you get a game between an East and a West Coast team, and they're tied in the last 5 minutes, it's just about a lock unless a goalie just completely screws one up. That game's going to overtime because both teams get super conservative. They're playing not to lose the point, and the game just completely changes at that point in time. I think a 3-point system might change some of those outcomes, especially down the road here where teams might need 3 points instead of just 2 points to get into it. So we thought about, okay, well, what would the standings look like if we did this? So hopefully here this shows up where everyone can see it. So you're seeing the current system and what would be the 3-2-1 system. So for example, if we look at the Atlantic Division here, Tampa is currently in first at 102. You got Buffalo, Montreal, blah, blah, blah. You can read it. So if you did this, the regulation wins would be 3 points. Your overtime wins would be 2 points, and then so on and so forth. So like here, Buffalo would actually leapfrog over Tampa and have 138 points because they have won more games in regulation. And most importantly, they just so they've got that one extra one, so they would leapfrog over them because they have less of the overtime wins. Montreal would still be clearly in third place. Boston would be where they are. Ottawa would be where they are. So that some of this doesn't change. Florida would leapfrog over Toronto. not that big of a deal. Both teams would still be out of the playoffs, but at least Florida would be better than Toronto. So that would be something, that would always be fun. And Toronto would be like really bad. Like they've only won 23 of their 32 games in regulation. So they would be in trouble. Now, for you Caps fans, you're going to find the Metro Division to be very interesting if we went to this system. Carolina would still be well in the lead. Pittsburgh would still be in second. But look what happens to Washington, because Washington has incredibly won 33 of their 39 games in regulation. Uh, they would go from right now being on the outside in to easily in the third spot in the Metro in this 3-2-1 system. Not only that, Philly, who's currently in the third spot, would be well behind everybody because 24 of their 39 wins have come in regulation. So they'd have a lot of ground to make up for. So you can really see in the Metro where this 3-2-1 would change things. Would it make it better? I don't know, but it would be different. That's for sure. So your teams in the East right now are and I did this by the three teams that would make it for each division. This isn't by point total, and then the two wildcard teams. So you can see the difference is Washington is in for Philly if you do it this way. Everyone else is the same. That's the change if you went with a 3-2-1 system. So Scooter, after seeing this in the East, I know you're a Caps fan. What are your thoughts on should the NHL go to a 3-2-1? Or are you fine with the 2-1 system?
The 3-2-1, it's just there's so many numbers and variables and this and that. I like a little more simplified, if you will. But if I were to change anything with it all, I would do the way it is now, 2-1-1. But I would just change it to 10-minute overtime periods where it's 5-on-5, and then they can do their little shootout after that. Other than I think that fixes a lot of the problems. I just think the 3-2-1 thing, way too many numbers. I mean, sure, Washington makes the playoffs. Whatever. I'm not a big fan of it.
Sarah, what are your thoughts on the 3-2-1? Looking at the East standings.
I mean, it definitely switches things up. But it'll be more interesting looking at the Western Conference because, as I've not been shy of saying it, that's the one that's more messed up, where you have the Central Division. I don't know if you can actually pull it up right now. I don't know if you did that, but if you can pull it up right now, with the Central Division. Huh?
Of course I did it.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying. But, like, with the Central Division, how they're basically kicking each other's ass and just dominating that field. And then you have the Pacific Division that doesn't even have 90 points. That says something a lot, and how certain teams could still be in the playoffs on the Western Conference, and they're not even close to it because of how bad the Western Conference is compared to the Eastern Conference. And I mean, we weren't shy from that when we were doing our predictions, earlier. Like, I think we all agree that the Eastern Conference was going to be way more tight in competition going into the season and throughout the season. So I think we're all right on that same page, but we didn't think it would be like this, right?
Right. No, I agree. And so you mentioned the West, so let's bring it up here. So the Central, you don't really see much change. I mean, Colorado's still won. The crazy part is Colorado would be running away with the President's Trophy in this format because not only they won 50 games, they've won 44 in regulation. They would have a whopping 154 points if you went to the system. Dallas would still be in second. Minnesota's still in third. Utah's still in fourth. It gets a little bit interesting down here where right now Nashville is 3 points up in St. Louis. If you went to this format, you would actually have Nashville and St. Louis tied at 107. Winnipeg would only be 3 points back. Chicago would still be well out. You bring up the Pacific, so let's take a look at it. Edmonton would still be in first. They'd have 117 points. They actually would have the same amount of points that Utah has as far as who's currently in the fourth wild card. Still well behind the top three of the Central. You would have Vegas actually go into the second spot. They have had 27 of their 35 wins in regulation. What's still crazy is Vegas has still lost 16 games in overtime as well. So they have 16 loser points, which has still helped them out tremendously. Anaheim would go down to 111. And then this is where you really see the change. San Jose would leap all the way up to 103 with their wins in regulation. Seattle, who's really, really, truly on the outside, probably with a small still chance because they have more games left than anybody else. But they would actually be right in the thick of this at 100 points. LA goes from in to out at 100 points because LA has only 19 wins in regulation of their
That's
31 wins. So yeah, LA would be a team that would be in trouble. So if you did it this way, again, your top three here are still there. Utah is still in. These two swap out. And what's crazy though is that right now Nashville is still the team in. So LA is still out, but they would be way out here, and Nashville would have a little bit of breathing room. They'd have 7 points of breathing room on Seattle and LA. So it pretty much would mean if you went to the 3-2-1, we'd really have probably not much left to play for, because I think Nashville would be in a much better spot. So seeing that, really you don't get much change. You get one team in the Eastern Conference, and you get really no change in the West other than the points change a little bit, and you get position change, but nobody goes from in to out like you have in the Eastern Conference. So Scooter, so I haven't sold you on the 3-2-1 by doing this, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, I mean, I get why it is definitely interesting, and it's anything is worth taking a look at. I think, even if it's the craziest thing in the world, just look at it anyways, just to see. Maybe you'll get something out of it. I mean, you could get something out of it, but I think what you basically said there was what would be two negatives on it would be it didn't really change much of it, and there really wouldn't, like in the West, there wouldn't. It sounded like you said there wouldn't be that much of a race for some of these.
No, correct.
So I mean, you want to race. Yeah, you definitely want to race on it.
It's like a scientist, right? You make a hypothesis, and then you do
Yeah.
your experiments, and then you find out if it's true or false. So
Yeah.
Sarah,
And
how
I
about
just
you?
think that people would be like so confused, or like, what the hell's an OW?
Well,
Yeah,
that's
and
just what
that's just
I
people.
put on it. I don't know what they would put on it. They probably would come up with some other neat little
They
thing.
would come up with something that would be also like, I don't know what that means.
Right.
Like, I don't know how many years I had to explain what OTL meant.
I know.
Oh, it means overtime loss. What's that mean? If you lose in overtime, like you get to overtime and you lose, like, yeah. They're like, okay, so the whole thing is just like, maybe then they get it, but it's confusing.
Sarah, what do you think? Would you like to see the NHL go to 3-2-1? Does this make it an idea where you'd like to see the NHL do it, or are you fine with still just the 2-1-0?
I mean, it's good to know. I guess like nothing necessarily changes too crazy. I mean, yes, there are those shifts. I mean, just trying to see like how each team would handle it. Because I mean, like you said, if you got a game tied going into the going close at the end of the third, like not really much happens, and they just take the overtime. Like I think it would be interesting to see it actually be applied and see obviously how teams handle it. If anything, it just makes me want to create more like just another hypothesis being like, okay, well, like what else could we do? Like people talk about having that ranking system 1-8 or whatever, like 1-8 on each side, and just rank it from there. Because I mean, it's just insane that you have Colorado who's going to be playing oh my god, I think Colorado is supposed to be playing LA right now, and that's just absolutely insane because I've already mentioned it several times. The point difference is just it's not. I mean, like you have your wild card Utah with 86 points. Meanwhile, the number one in the Pacific has 87 points. It's just things like that. Is like, okay, well, do we do the 3-2-1? Do we do a ranking? Do we keep the 2-1? But what the hell is going on with the Pacific Division? Like, there's so many questions, and Gary Bettman is not going to do much to answer it. So,
well, we're going to do something to answer it. We're going to go through these playoff races, and we're going to go through each team and show who they have left. So before we do that, let's take one final commercial break, and then we're going to dive into these standings. And if your team is on the bubble or maybe battling for position, you're going to see who they have left and what we think is going to maybe happen with that. So we'll be right back after this. All right, so we're back. So let's get into these standings here. First, we'll take a look at the East, the Atlantic Division. This one's going to go down to the wire. You got 3 teams separated by 2 points. Tampa has a game in hand. They have 6 to play. Buffalo and Montreal both only have 5 to play. They are 2 points up. Carolina will clinch the division sometime here very soon. They just either have to win or lose in overtime and have Pittsburgh, or lose a game. They'll clinch the Metropolitan Division. Pittsburgh seems to be pretty well in place now, that second spot with a 6-point gap. So it looks like they're going to be pretty much set, those two teams. The battle will be for the third, which, as we talked about, here come the Philadelphia Flyers. They're on a 7-3 run. They are now in that third spot at 90 points. And then you have the two wild cards. Boston seems probably pretty locked in the first wild card at 95 points. They've got a 5-point lead over Ottawa, who's in the second wild card. And then the fun begins, folks. You have 3 points separating 7 teams, because if you include the Flyers, you include Ottawa, the Islanders, Detroit, Columbus, and Washington, you have 3 points separating these teams. So, and still in it is Washington. They did, they had a bad loss. The last couple of games have not been good. They could actually be in it if they wouldn't have at least won one of those 2 games that they should have won. Instead, they lost to the Rangers. And who was the other one they just lost to, Scooter? I can't remember now. It was the Rangers.
Oh, yeah. It was the Rangers and the. Oh,
It was
God.
not one that they should have lost to. I remember that. But
the Devils.
The Devils. That's right. Yeah. So
The Devils.
two teams
That
not in the
Hughes was
playoffs.
having a killer game.
Yeah, he did. But so that's where we're at right now on the East. Let's do it real quick, Scooter. Any thoughts on the East? Like super quick, like 60 seconds, and then we'll take more time when we look at the teams.
Yeah, I mean, now it's just playing out. Buffalo's in, Tampa's in, Montreal, Carolina. So it's just like those 4 spots, but some of those teams will knock themselves out of it. There's some that just aren't. Caps are not performing well, that kind of thing like that. So.
Agree. Sarah, any real quick thoughts on the East before, like just a super quick thought before, and we'll dive into the teams more as we get into their individual schedules.
I think the most important is just going to be seeing the battle for third, and then whoever loses that battle will get that wild card 2 spot. The most I would say you can expect being clinched any day would be that being Pittsburgh with the number 2, and then Boston with a wild card 1.
Agree. All right, and then we look at the West again real quick. No changes. Colorado, they haven't officially clinched, but they are going to win the Central. They got an 8-point lead now. Dallas and Minnesota will be your 2-3. Utah is going to be your first wild card. You have 1 point separating Edmonton, Anaheim, and Vegas. All 3 teams are likely going to get in. I don't see anyone of those 3 teams falling all the way out. Vegas has gone 3-0 since they hired Torts to get themselves right back into this. Anaheim's lost 5 in a row. Edmonton's gone 7 for the last 2. And again, same thing here. You have 6 points separating 6 teams. I left Seattle in it, but Seattle's been really struggling. I almost took them out, but really the fun of this is going to be you have 5 teams separated by just 3 points, from Nashville down to Winnipeg, from 81 to 78. So again, same thing, Scooter. Real quick, 60 seconds, a real quick thought on the West.
Yeah, I'm sure the only reason Seattle's on there is because they have 75 games played and not 76, because that gives them a chance to get to 77 or then 79. So that's probably the only reason they're on there.
You're exactly right. That's the only reason why I kept them on there, is because they have 7 games left.
So it should be a little interesting run, see what goes on for that final wild card spot.
Sarah, I know you threw out a lot already on the Pacific. Is there anything else you need to throw out here on this one, or are you good?
It's just insane that like nothing in the Pacific has clinched, but so it's going to be a crazy battle for that as well, because you still have to figure out your who gets who.
Yep. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick look. So if you remember the standings, so we're going to start off with some of the teams obviously on the East. So Tampa Bay, they are currently in first in the East. They have 6 games left. They're 7-1-2 in their last 10. They've got their big one tonight. This starts us off really fun. You got Tampa Bay going to Buffalo tonight. For folks that don't remember, their last game was an 8-5 game, back and forth. They had 100 minutes in penalties. This game is in Buffalo. This is going to be fun to watch tonight, because I'm curious to see after that game, what does this game look like? Because if you get 2 in a row of that game, then give me Tampa Bay and Buffalo in the playoffs, baby, because that's going to be some fun to watch.
Yeah, well.
Then after that, they get Ottawa, another team that's in the mix, and Montreal. All 3 of those games are on the road for Tampa Bay. Then they get Boston, another team that Boston's probably going to be in it, so I don't think they're going to worry about them. Then they end with Detroit, and then they end with the Rangers. So it's an interesting schedule for Tampa Bay going down the road here. And then we'll look at Buffalo next, 100 points. They're 5-3-2 in their last 10. They got 5 games left. They have Tampa Bay, which we just talked about. Then they go to the Rangers, a tough one where Colorado comes in, but Colorado may not have anything really to play for. Then they go to Chicago, a team that they really should beat, and then they get Dallas, another team that probably that last game of the season, they're not going to have a lot to play for. So then the third team in that mix, you have Montreal. They're 8-2 in their last 10. They have been really playing well. They have 5 games left. Florida, who's kind of out of it and sitting a lot of folks. Then they play Tampa Bay. That's going to be, another big one there, obviously, when they get them. And then they play Colorado, which again, that's going to be another one that's going to be tough. And then they go to, that's actually Columbus. I'm sorry, that's not Colorado. They play Columbus. I should have realized that was 2 different ones. And then the Islanders and then Philly. So they're playing some of these teams that are right in the mix. So there's your 3 teams. You see who they got left. Who is winning the Atlantic Division, Scooter?
Well, it looks like by all these numbers, it will go Buffalo, Tampa Bay, Montreal.
Sarah, do you agree with that, or do you got somebody else that do you think Buffalo pulls it out, or do you think it will go somewhere a different way?
I believe it's going to stay exactly how it is, especially since Tampa has that 1 game advantage on them right now. I could definitely see them going probably. I think honestly, if they go like 3-3, maybe 4-2, it would be decent. And then just like again with Buffalo, and it's just going to be very interesting to see who does win out because they're all 2 points separate from each other. So it still has a chance to be swapped around. I will say if Buffalo gets Montreal, yes, we were talking about a Tampa gets Buffalo. That would be a great game, a great series because of what we've seen so far in the regular season. But Buffalo and Montreal, I feel like that really does have a true Atlantic rivalry going on. So that would be an interesting build up too.
Buffalo's first time in 13 years, so yeah, their first home playoff game is going to be very, very loud, no matter who is against. And I am here for it. I can't wait. I'm very excited to see Buffalo. And so that's our fun on the Atlantic side. Then you get to this wild card third. You got Philly at 90 points. They are 7-3. They have 5 games left. They got at New Jersey, at Detroit, at Winnipeg. Then they finish with Carolina and Montreal. So definitely some winnable games there. Ottawa 6-3-1 in their last 10. They've got Tampa Bay, Florida. Then they play at the Islanders, at New Jersey, and Toronto is who they finish with. Then you got the Islanders at 89 points, and here's where it's going to be really hard for the Islanders. And again, this is why I just don't really think that this move is going to do much for them. They only got 4 games left. Now, they do get Toronto. They're all at home. They got Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, and Carolina. So they should beat Toronto. That's probably 2 points there. Ottawa's going to be tough. They're playing good. Montreal's going to be tough. They may get lucky with Carolina that last game of the season because I don't know that Carolina's really going to have anything to play for. They could be resting some guys, but when you only got 4 games left and you got all those teams up above you, it's just going to be hard for the Islanders to do that. Detroit at 88 points. They're 4-6 with 5 games left. Colorado, Philly, New Jersey, at Tampa Bay, and then at Florida. Then you got Columbus playing Detroit. And these are 3 on the road. Detroit, at Buffalo, at Montreal, Boston, and then that last game against Washington, which could that game could be something, could be nothing. We won't know for sure until we get to the end. But that could be fun. Washington has at Toronto, and then home and home against Pittsburgh, which that could be interesting too there because I think Pittsburgh might be in a spot where they don't really have much to play for in those last 2 games other than keeping Washington out, which if anyone remembers the Pittsburgh-Washington rivalry, they might like doing. So that is it for the East. So there's your teams there. I didn't put Pittsburgh and Carolina in and Boston because I think those 3 teams are very clearly in their spots. It doesn't really matter. So with those teams, one's going to get the third team in the Metro, and the other one's going to get the second wild card. So Scooter, who gets in?
I'm putting 2 in, you said?
Yep, one's going to be your third team in the Metro, and the other one's going to be your second wild card.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to go on this one with Philly and Columbus.
Okay. Sarah, who's in?
So it's definitely interesting because while, yes, Philly and New York are having a good, decent season, I just feel like it's in a respectful way. I don't really know if they deserve to be there. And I can't really explain it that much. Other than just I wasn't really expecting Philly to do decent enough to even make it into it. So I think Philly, I mean, they're on a 2-game win streak. Their last 10 has been 7-3. So if they do keep it up, I would actually just drop them the wild card 2 And I would think that you have Detroit or Columbus that's actually going to be able to pull away that 3 spot. I'm still trying to figure out which one. Detroit has
Detroit's in the Atlantic, so they can't get the 3 spot in the
Oh,
Metro.
what am I talking about? What am I talking about? So yeah, so it would be Columbus. So Columbus gets the 3 spot, and then Philly gets your wild card too.
I'm kind of splitting with you guys a little bit. I'm going to keep Ottawa in as the second wild card too. I think with that schedule they have left, there's 6 points right there between with Florida, New Jersey, and Toronto, and so then that just leaves the Tampa Bay and Islanders game. So that gets them up to 96 points, which means that I think that's going to probably get it done, especially if they can get a loss in overtime in one of those other two to get to 97 points. So I think that gets them in. I don't know with Philly with that last bunch. I don't know that there's many wins there. So I'm actually going to go out on a limb here. I think Washington gets in.
The 3rd spot or wild card?
In the third, I think
yeah.
Washington's going to get into the 3rd Metro. Columbus is in a nosedive. They've lost 6 in a row. I don't trust the Islanders to, even though they've got an easier schedule, but they've only got the 4 games. I think really and Washington's only got 4 games too, but those are 4 games that they should win. I honestly think that they can win. They should win those 4 games because Columbus is not playing well. I don't think Pittsburgh's going to have anything to play for unless they just decide they want to knock them out. And Toronto's Toronto without Austin Matthews. So that gets them up to 95 points. I
You
think
think
95
Washington's
points
going to win against Colorado?
No, that's not Colorado. It's Columbus.
That's
It's Columbus.
confusing.
I know. I realize that now because in the West we're going to have those are all going to be Colorado games. These are all Columbus games, and I realize that
Hi,
now.
Dad.
I should differentiate. I should done bust. What's up, Ash? How you doing, kiddo? Like, hey, look at that. Another child, the non-sports child. So, all right. So yeah, I don't know why. I'll give Washington. If it's not Washington, it's going to be Columbus. I think whoever wins, I think that last game between Washington and Columbus could be a win and you're in, lose and you're out, just like Florida had.
If you watched that game last night, and when it got to 4-1, I decided to watch the cartoon version because that was actually entertaining. Then it was like, what's that? I think it was 6-1. I'm like, I'm going to bed. Even the cartoon's not entertaining me anymore.
That was it for that. So,
but the cartoon entertainment was good.
Yeah, I did not watch any of it. I meant to, and then I just forgot. And then, like you said, the score was a blowout, and I was kind of we'd watched 7 hours of guards baseball, so I was kind of sported out at that point in time. So,
well, there was one point in like the second where they gave up most of those goals, where Cooley for the Rangers, he scores.
You're right.
So then, like 10 seconds later, he gets a penalty and goes in the box. So then the Caps have a blah power play. Cooley goes right back on the ice and scores within like 2 seconds. So he scored like 2 goals in 2 minutes and 15 seconds. In between that, he was in the penalty box. I haven't seen that much.
No, that is kind of crazy. So, all right, let's do this real quick for the West. I should probably put this on 2 different ones looking at this now, but I didn't have that kind of time today, so I did this pretty quick. We talked about these 3 teams. They're separated by a point. Edmonton has 5 games left. They go to Utah. They go to San Jose. They go to LA. Then they play Colorado and then Vancouver. Anaheim has 5 games left. They have Nashville, San Jose, Vancouver, at Minnesota, and then Nashville again. Vegas, with their 5 games, has Vancouver, at Seattle, at Colorado, Winnipeg, and then Seattle. So you see these 5 teams, or these 3 teams, they're all going to get the 3 spots. So who finishes first, who finishes second and third? Remember, whoever gets second and third has to play each other. Scooter, so who do you think wins it?
So, I mean, how many teams do I got to get in there again?
All 3 of these teams are going to make it. It's just who's finished first in the Pacific and who's second and third.
Okay, so where it's going to be Vegas, Edmonton, Anaheim.
Sarah, agree or disagree?
Edmonton, Vegas, Anaheim.
I'm going with Scooter. I'm going Vegas, Edmonton, Anaheim. Anaheim seems to be on the. I don't trust Edmonton. They're still without Leon Draisaitl. And they've got other than the Vancouver game, it's not that easy. And the key for Vegas is that home and home with Seattle, and Seattle's just not playing well. So I think that's going to get them up and over. And again, when they play Colorado, I just don't think Colorado's going to have anything to play for. So now This is for one playoff spot. All right,
One.
one. And this is it. These are your 6 teams. You got Nashville and LA currently tied at 81 points. Nashville and LA both have 6 games left. You have at LA, at Anaheim, at Utah, Minnesota, San Jose, and Anaheim for Nashville. LA has Nashville, Vancouver, Edmonton, Seattle, Vancouver again, and then Calgary. So definitely some winnable games there for LA. San Jose at 79 points, but they have 7 games left. Chicago, Edmonton, at Anaheim, Vancouver, at Nashville, at Chicago, and at Winnipeg. So San Jose with some winnable games there. St. Louis, 78 points, has Colorado, Winnipeg, Chicago, Minnesota, Pittsburgh, and then Utah. And then Winnipeg has at Seattle, St. Louis, Philly, at Vegas, and at Utah. And then San Jose and Seattle again. They're only 2-6-2 in their last 10, but they have 7 games left. So that's why I threw them in there. They're at Winnipeg, at Minnesota, Vegas, Calgary, LA, at Vegas, and Colorado. So again, only one of these are going to be your second wild card team. So Scooter, who is your second wild card team, seeing who plays whom?
Oh, the 2 teams?
Just one.
Just one. Oh, Nashville.
You got Nashville sticking with it. Okay.
Yeah.
Sarah, who's in?
Give me San Jose.
I also am taking San Jose.
Hey!
I want to see Celebrini get in the playoffs. I'll be honest. I think that kid deserves a playoff run. They do have those they have 3 winnable games. They got 6. They should get 6 points between the 2 games with Chicago and Vancouver. Like that's 6 points just sitting there for them. That gets them up to 85. Then they just need to somehow get one between Edmonton and Anaheim, and they can beat Vancouver, and then they should beat Winnipeg too. Honestly, that gets them in. But again, you could have a situation too where San Jose, Winnipeg could have that last game where it's winning in, and I'd love that. I'd love to see a couple of those teams that win and get in. So there you have it. That's who everyone plays. So we're hoping next week that we can do our playoff show. Before we get to the playoff show, though, I do want to give this real quick. Scooter, Masters next weekend. Who you like?
So who do I like? Obviously, you got to look at Scotty Scheffler. He's looking good. He's even looking good on the PGA front. But some of the boys from the Live Golf, John Rahm and Bryson DeChambeau have been killing it in Live. So look out for those guys too. But other wild cards would be Ludwig Oberg. He's great. And then my big wild card, I think he's too small, but good old Akshay Bhatia. He's really having a great season this year. He's really skinny, but those arms, he can whip that ball, and he's going to be my big wild card of it. So it should be a really fun tournament.
And the weather's looking pretty good for down there, isn't it? From what I saw, I mean, the weather in Atlanta looks good. So I'm assuming if the weather in Atlanta is going to be good, it's got to be good in Augusta, right?
You're assuming correctly on that one.
All right, good. Although I do have to admit, I do like when the weather is a little bit bad and it maybe makes them struggle just a little bit. I like it when the scores come down a little bit, but I'm sure they appreciate good weather instead. So we'll be.
Oh yeah.
And especially when it starts warming up, because I think it's supposed to be in the mid 80s there. So it'll be interesting to see how that affects the greens if that heats them up a little bit. So that's about all I know for my golf talk. So there you go.
No, that's good golf talk though. Yeah, we're going to see some really good scores coming up. So that's a lot of these players are going to hit the ball really well. So the cut line should be, I don't know. The cut line might be like 2 over.
Yeah, I like that. Sarah, I know you and I follow golf about the same amount. I assume, do you have any thoughts on the Masters? Do you have any predictions?
Lots of drunk people.
Well, not as much. That doesn't happen as much.
Not at the Masters.
Yeah, I was gonna say
you're not even allowed to bring your cell phone.
Yeah,
Oh.
It's against the rule. Kick you right out if you pull a cell phone out. They don't allow that for those reasons.
Midnight gave me a good comment, so I'm not sure if he's talking about the hockey stuff or if he's talking about my limited golf knowledge.
I'll give you a golf club.
Isn't it around a golf class, right? Isn't that what we do? So all right, so there you go. So we'll bring up the Masters a little bit more. We're hopefully going to do our NHL playoff preview. Again, the regular season doesn't end to the 16th. I just really want it that the 20th is we're going to be hard pressed as this to get that bad boy done in 2 hours for our mock draft. There's going to be some surprises. I'm just going to say this right because the way I'm doing it right now, people are already making their picks in the correct order, so that way I can have the graphics and everything like that ready. there's going to be some surprises in this top 10. That's a little preview of what's going to be coming up on April 20th. So, and then later after that, we'll be doing the sports, pricing families out of live events too. So, that's it for that. Real quick here, just a quick look at the shows. We do have Pretenders Contenders coming up at 7 o'clock tonight. Coach Devon's going to have the Laurel High School athletic director and baseball coach Donald Cleveland on the show with him. So we look forward to that tonight at 7. Then tomorrow, Unapologetic Sports will be on. And then, of course, you're going to have the guys coming up with that afterwards on the Tuesday night flight. I'll be on with the guys on Unapologetic Sports, not tomorrow night, but the week after that to give yet more fun with the playoffs for the NHL. They want me on there with that, so I'll be there with them. Then you got Nothing But Net on Wednesdays. I'm sure they will be filling us all in on the NBA side of things and getting us ready for the NBA playoffs. So stay tuned for that. Then the Thursday night throwdown. And then, of course, the WrestleManiacs and the Sunday Rise to finish off the weekend. So there's everything there. So with that being said, Scooter, any last thoughts?
Nothing. It should be a really fun game tonight. Like I said, hopefully that goes right down to the wire with a shot for the ages. Let's go for it. I'm hoping UConn, but
And with an 8:50 tip time, that final shot of the ages should be right around like midnight, right?
Yeah, I should be like trying to stay up as
there's probably no chance. Midnight said it was my golf comments, so there you go. All right, Sarah, any thoughts? Last wrap ups.
Yeah, just important to know. Obviously, kind of sad, but 8 years ago today was the Humboldt tragedy, where the hockey team was tragically killed in a bus accident. So, it's just insane. I mean, with the stories that have come out from it, and then obviously they're making that whole documentary, which we've already talked about that. But just always a sad memory and tragic to hear about.
And not everyone from that team died. There were a few that survived. So
yeah, there were, and I know. Was he trying to be on the Paralympic? I can't remember because there was one that was, I think. I can't remember the exact.
Think he did try out, but I can't remember if he made it or not. I had to look. I don't think he did.
Yeah. But just 8 years ago, which is absolutely insane to think about, but never not a sad story, I would say.
Well, that's true, but again, it always leads to what I always say, right? Make sure you tell your loved ones that you love them and hug them, because tomorrow is not guaranteed. But if you are with us, hopefully you will join us again next week. And good luck to, speaking of Godspeed and everything like that. Let's wish our boys and gals that are on the Artemis 2 a safe return. When did they come back, Scooter?
They will. So this is gonna be really cool. Friday night at 8:07 p.m. is Splashdown outside of San Diego. So people will be watching. It's going to be a big deal.
That's 8 o'clock East Coast time, right?
You should watch.
8 o'clock East Coast time that they splash
8
down?
8 o'clock East Coast. 5 o'clock our time. No, excuse me. 8 o'clock our time. 5 o'clock Pacific.
Okay, cool. All right, so there you have it, everyone. All right, that's we went a little bit over this week, so I'll be yelled at for that. That's okay. But anyway, great show, guys. We'll see you all next week. Thanks for joining in, and until then, see ya.